color analysis myths. And this is a video if you're a beginner or if you're new here. This is a video that's going to be something that you can definitely follow along with. It's not going to be too down in the details or anything like that. It should just be a fun video. And if you're old here, then this is also something that may interest you because it's not something that these are not things that I actually really talk about that often. And or I haven't talked about in an incredibly long time. So let's get right into it. So myth number one is you can't wear all of the colors. Now, if you're old here, you may be sort of surprised by me saying this because a lot of what I say is that you can't wear all of the colors, and the truth of the matter is not all of the colors will look good on you, but that doesn't mean that you can't wear all of the colors. So you can see in this color palette here, in this color palette here, we have the blue on top and we have this tan or whatever, and we have this terracotta type color. And if you are cool toned, you can wear all three of these colors. You would simply put that blue to frame your face, and then you would put the other two colors away from your face. And so that's the trick to wearing colors that don't necessarily look good on you. If your favorite colors don't tend to look good on you, you can just keep them away from your face. And you can even have an entire outfit in colors that don't look good on you, and then just have a scarf in one of your best colors just near your face. And that's going to be more than good enough to make you glow. Another thing to think about is if you want your skin to look good anywhere, like if you want for your hands to look good, for example, you may want to have your sleeves be a color that is flattering to your skin tone, because that color of the sleeve is going to lay against your skin on your hand, and it's going to bring out either the glow and the radiance of your skin or some imperfections, depending on if the color is flattering or unflattering. But in general, if you wear colors that frame your face, that flatter your skin tone, then that is going to really be what matters. Now, here's the thing. In some color analysis systems, and I've made no secret of this, I'm really against this. I'm really against this way of approaching colors that I'm about to describe. A lot of people complain, well, I want to wear more colors. I don't want to be restricted in colors. But the problem is that I actually don't make the rules, right? Like if I could make all the colors look good on you, I would, but I didn't make your skin tone. I'm only telling you, what I'm observing, you see? And so I can't just because some systems or color analysts or both, mostly systems, a lot of color analysts really won't place people in colors that don't look good on them, but a lot of systems are very lenient when it comes to just giving you all of the colors under the sun, just tons of colors on your color palette, yellows, oranges, brights, muted colors, everything. And that's in part in response to people wanting to have more color options. But the truth of the matter is that there is a way to have more color options, and I believe this is the way. It's to frame your face in one of the colors that really looks good on you, and then to sort of match the rest of your outfit and have more flexibility in those colors because they're not near your face. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't just put all of these colors that may not exactly be flattering on one color palette. A lot of the color palettes that I'll see out there are just all over the place, and there's not one person on this planet who would look good in all of those colors. It's just an impossibility. And unfortunately, that in my opinion, that's a lot of color palettes that I see out there that are just incredibly broad to a point where they may not necessarily be truthful or useful. Anyway, I've rambled enough, so let's just go. Okay, so here's another example. If you're cool toned, you'd wear the purple near your face. If you're warm toned, you'd wear like this tan color near your face. Okay, myth number two. You have to wear your eye color. Now, again, this is something that I personally believe people will always want to do, and I have come to a point where I don't discourage people wearing their eye color because it is a very beautiful thing. Like you see Rachel Weisz here, so she is olive and she's cool toned, but her eyes are warm. They're like this hazel warm color. And she may want to wear like a warm olive green, but she's cool toned, so that's going to make her skin not look as good, even though it'll match her eyes. Now, what I would usually say is go ahead and wear that olive green, but just know that maybe on that day you're going to feel like you want to wear more makeup, or you're going to feel like, oh, you know, I can afford to do this today because my skin looks extra good. But if you're tired or if you're sick, you really don't want to be wearing colors that are not flattering to your skin tone. So for her, one option is she can simply wear olive green, as you can see here. So she can wear like that kind of like hazel olive green kind of color. And she can just take the hit for her skin tone and wear her eye color. I personally don't always recommend this. Like, I don't recommend this as a first option. Although I don't completely discourage it because it can be lovely to wear your eye color. But instead, what I really enjoy is I actually enjoy wearing the complement of your eye color, because that will bring out how like hazel and green her eyes are. And the complement of your eye color is often going to be the opposite. So it's like, if your eye color is cool, the complement will often be warm. And if your eye color is warm, the complement will often be cool. So that kind of gets everybody. So if you're cool toned and you have cool blue eyes, or if you have cool brown eyes, then you have no problem. You can just wear cool blue or something. I'm not really talking about you. If you're warm toned and you have warm hazel eyes and you have warm skin, you can just wear olive green. You see what I mean? So I'm not really talking about you either. I'm talking about people who have like a mismatch in the undertone of their eye color and the undertone of their skin. And so for those people, it's really nice for them to wear the complement of their eye color. And so like for Rachel Weisz, it would be something like this cool toned, like kind of soft purple type color. It would just be lovely on her. Now I want to show you guys what I mean. Okay, so here she is with that purple framing her. And she just looks, her eyes actually come into focus, and you can really see how green, like hazel green her eyes are. And then when she wears this green color, I actually find that my eye gets lost more, and I'm actually less focused on her eyes, ironically, even though that's her eye color, and all of her features sort of come out of focus. And now when we put that purplish color back again, her eyes actually come into focus. And so this is not intuitive, you guys. You would think, well, I'm going to wear my eye color and my eyes are going to come into focus. But in reality, sometimes your eyes come out of focus when you don't wear your colors. And so on the one hand, I'm happy for people to wear their eye color. On the other hand, I'm also happy for people to really know the effect that certain colors have on them. And so with Rachel Weisz in this example, I would still prefer to see her in this kind of purplish color rather than like a warm olive green, even though it's her eye color. Okay, next. Rosy/olive means warm or cool. Now, you guys who are old here have heard me ramble about this on and on, but it's worth mentioning again because it's like, I always get comments because some people, I had this one person that I was color typing in a YouTube video, and they're like, oh, well, she was cool toned, and somebody said, well, I thought she was warm. And I asked this person why, this commenter, and they said, oh, because she has a lot of reds to her skin. Red does not mean warm or cool. Some of my clients will tell me, well, I always thought that I was warm because I am olive. Now, that's really common, actually. In the color analysis sphere, color analysts believe that olive is cool because the only olive people who come to them are cool olive people, because all of the warm olive people who are being told that they're so warm by the general public never have to come to color analysts because they just wear their warm colors and they're happy. So anyway, so some of my clients will tell me, well, I thought I was warm because I'm olive, you see? And, you know, that's not necessarily true either. Rosy or olive has nothing to do with warm or cool. This is how I believe the color of skin is organized. So you can have rosy and olive, which are completely separate axes, nothing to do with warm or cool. And then you have warm or cool. And so rosy and olive has to do with the red-green balance of your skin, and then cool and warm has to do with the blue-yellow balance of your skin. So you'll hear some people who are more mainstream people. I mean, granted, like, if you're watching a very mainstream video on color analysis, you are probably going to get kind of, usually, not always, of course, there are always exceptions, but usually I find that mainstream, like very mainstream videos will just not have a very good understanding of color analysis, not have a very good understanding of colors. And so some people will even say, well, olive is cool because it has because it has green and green has blue. Well, all skin tones have some blue. That doesn't make you cool. Because if you didn't have any blue to your skin tone, you would be completely orange, because orange is the complement of blue. So anyway, so don't believe everything you see out there. It's there's a lot out there. Okay, there's a lot out there, and there are so many ways to be wrong, you guys. Like, I don't know, don't get me started. I think that yeah, just not to say that everything that I'm saying at all is like gospel or anything, not at all. It's just try to have, try to have a bit of discernment, especially when you're watching more like mainstream content on color analysis. Okay, number 4, if you're deep, so-called deep, you should wear deep colors. Now, what does deep mean? There are 2 kinds of deep. One kind is you have a deep skin tone, like you're just darker. And the other kind is you could be deep, so to speak, if you have dark features, like someone like me. I'm deep in some systems. And so I look nice in dark colors for sure. But some people, because of their features are very soft. And so they look nice in pastels, even though their features are dark. So you can see that her facial features have these soft angles to them, and the shapes of her facial features are soft. And her hair is dark. And so if we look at her hair alone, and her skin being light and her hair being dark, we would expect that she would look good in either bright colors or dark colors. However, because of the shape of her facial features, her soft lips, her soft cheeks, her soft eyes that are not very like almond shaped or anything, they're more like round. Everything is round about her face. Because of that, she is also flattered by pastels. And so that's really beyond the scope of a lot of color analysis systems, but this is such a critical factor when it comes to finding your colors, is sometimes your bone structure or the shapes of your facial features going to make all the difference for your color choices. And I have a few videos on this. I think why you don't believe in color analysis is one of them. So if you feel like this may be you and you're new here and you're like, oh, maybe this is like the missing piece, I have a few videos maybe you could watch. Why you don't believe in color analysis, I already said that. And then my red lip videos, like why a red lip doesn't work on you. And so there's more information for you to kind of understand there. Maybe your bone structure. Okay, and then we have, of course, someone who's deep. Now, she's not actually that deep. I would say she has like a medium depth skin tone. But you can see how wonderful she looks in that white top. And that's because that white contrasts with the relative depth of her skin. You may think if she were wearing a dark color, actually she would look amazing as well because her hair is dark. And so what I call this in my system is a dynamic contrast level. And so someone who's dynamic in contrast levels, they look good in either really dark or really light colors, but not in between. And that's her. And so the white, or any light color like that, is just going to look stunning on her because it contrasts with her skin. And because it picks up on the bright white of her eyes and the bright white of her teeth. Now, this is not something that is only applicable to people who you would consider like deep skin tones. This is something that happens to the average blonde-haired, blue-eyed person who just goes running a lot and gets a tan, or goes to a tanning bed, or gets a spray tan. I don't really know, okay, or care what you do to get your tan. But this happens to people who tan, because what happens is that it's the same thing. It's that tan skin contrasts with like if they wear white, if someone who's really tan and, imagine she's blonde and she runs a lot and she wears something white, that's actually going to be very flattering because it's going to contrast against the tan color of her skin. So just because you have some depth to your skin or some depth to your features, there can be a lot of reasons why you are not flattered by dark colors. Various reasons, like the body type thing, or simply just how everything kind of works about your coloration, like in this case. Okay, last but not least, you guys, if you're old here and you made it here, thank you. Because I want to talk to you about this. Now, you may be like, there are only, myth number 5, Mary, there are only 12 or 16 categories. Yeah, so that is, in my opinion, a myth. Now, what does it mean for that to be a myth? I mean, it's not a myth because there are some systems with 12 categories or 16 categories. However, I have to passionately disagree that those are the number of categories that we actually need to categorize everyone. Now, you may be really thinking, Miriam, your system has 4 categories. What are you talking about? Let me explain, okay? Artistic license has 4 categories: cool and delicate, cool and radiant, warm and delicate, warm and radiant. Those are the skin tone categories. Now, in one of my recent videos, people asked me, well, but what about, you didn't even mention contrast. I don't often mention contrast. In one of my old videos I did, but I don't often talk about it because it can tend to be self-explanatory, but not always. And that's in part why I don't talk about it. But now out of those 4, we have actually 4 contrast levels for each of the 4 undertones that I just discussed. And the 4 contrast levels are low, medium, high, and dynamic. And so now we have 16 categories, right? Because we had 4 times 4. And now we can also discuss how everybody leans olive or rosy. Now, the thing with olive or rosy is that if you're a client of mine, you may not have gotten a classification for olive or rosy, but that's because being olive or rosy doesn't always affect your color recommendations. So I'm not going to waste your time and tell you, if it doesn't have anything to do with which colors look good on you, and oftentimes it doesn't. People who just slightly lean olive or slightly lean rosy, it doesn't really matter. But for some people, it really does matter if they lean very olive or if they lean very rosy. So that brings me to, now we had 16 categories like I discussed. Now we have olive and rosy on top of each one of those. And so now we have 16 times 2, which is 32. And not to mention, now we haven't gotten into bone structure and features. And so I have 3 kind of alterations. Now again, for people who don't need alterations, like some people, their color type just works well with their body type's color recommendations. So it's not completely like you're going to get categorization in each one of them. But there are 3 additional categories for the way that I do the body type effect, the bone structure effect on the coloration and like which colors look good on you. So that means 32 times 3. What does that make it? 96. So in artistic license, it's 96. It's actually 96. And the thing is that it never feels like 96. And before I even made this video, I didn't explicitly know that there would be 96 because I never counted them up because, I'm just building up the recommendations for my clients, you see? And I just do it kind of in a step-by-step way that to me is, and I hope to you guys as well, it's sort of easy and straightforward, you know what I mean? Like, it's not so mysterious like the way that I do it. And so it doesn't seem overwhelming. Like if I were to tell you artistic license has 96 categories, you would look at me like I have, 6 heads or something, because it's just, what do you mean? The system, I believe, and a lot of you guys have told me, it's not just that I believe, a lot of you guys, like one of the main feedbacks that I get about my system is that it's just so simple and easy to understand. But the thing is that it's just a stepwise like approach, you know what I mean? And so it doesn't feel like there are 96 categories, but all of the things that you guys know after watching my videos, you actually have all of this stuff in your head as well. And if you are to count them up, it's actually 96, which is really a lot. And I didn't even know this before I made this video because I never counted them up because like, why would I, I just make the color recommendations and it seems to work. So yeah, so anyway, I think that's all I had to say for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Are there any color analysis myths do you think that I missed? I'd be curious to know. And I think that's it. If you are still confused about your color type, of course, I offer consultations. This is what I do for a living. So I do color typing and body typing in essence. And, I kind of wrap it all into a style report, put a bow on it, and give it to you. And so that's what I do. And I take bookings through my website. So you can take a look below on how you can book with me if you're interested. And what else is there? I don't know. I don't think that there is anything else. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you next time. Okay, bye.